Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss the most important topic from your class 11 biology, that is breathing and exchange of gases. Okay, so today we are going to discuss what is the mechanism of breathing which is taking place in the humans. Trust me students, this is a very important topic for your NEET exam. You are going to get good questions from this for your NEET MCQs. Okay, now in this I'm going to particularly discuss about what is the process of breathing. Okay, what is breathing actually, and what is the principle involved in breathing, and what are the muscles which are involved in breathing, and what is the mechanism of breathing, and finally with few MCQs. Okay, so the breathing in humans, as we are going to discuss today about the human respiratory system. Okay, now we are different organisms breathe in different ways. Okay, as we are discussing about the humans, the human respiratory system, it mainly involves two components. What are the two components? They are the respiratory pathway, okay, that is the respiratory passages, and the respiratory organs. Now, what are the respiratory organs in the humans? They are your lungs, okay, your lungs. Now, the lungs have two lobes. What are the two lobes? They are the right lobe and the left lobe, okay. The right lung, okay, the right lung has almost three lobes and the left lung has almost two lobes. So particularly in total, your lung has five lobes. Now, this does the miracle job of the breathing. Okay, so and the respiratory pathway includes your trachea, bronchi, bronchioles. Okay, trachea, bronchi, bronchioles, sternal bronchioles, all this. Okay, so particularly we are discussing in this. Okay, and breathing mainly involves two steps. What are the two steps? Okay, you have in this the conducting part. Okay, the conducting part and the respiratory part. Okay, if you discuss about the human respiration, it involves the conducting part and the respiratory part. The conducting part involves how the air enters into the lungs and how the air exits out of the lungs. That is the actual process of breathing. Okay, how the air is going into the lungs and how the air is coming out of the lungs. The respiratory part involves, okay, the respiratory part involves how the actual diffusion of the gases, that is the oxygen and the carbon dioxide, they are diffusing, okay, they are diffusing into the tissues. They are diffusing into the tissues from the alveoli, okay, from the alveoli. Today, we are going to discuss about the first part, that is the taking inside, okay, the breathing in air. It is called as the inspiration. Okay, what is it called as the inspiration? Inspiration is nothing but we are taking inside the air from the atmosphere. You're breathing air inside. Okay, that is the atmospheric air is moving into your lungs. Okay, when the air moves into the lungs, okay, that is called as inspiration, and the air moves outside the lungs. Okay, when the alveolar air, that is from the lungs, when the alveolar air move outside the lungs, it is called as the expiration. And do you know, the inspiration is a very active process which takes place within just 2 seconds. Okay, but your expiration, it is different. Okay, it is just passive process. It's a passive process which takes around 3 seconds. Okay, so totally your breathing cycle, that is the breathing involves us two steps: inspiration plus expiration. Your inspiration 2 seconds and your expiration 3 seconds, totally 5 seconds for one breathing cycle. And if you calculate in 1 minute, how many times we breathe, as 1 minute has 60 seconds, so we make it 60 by 5, that is almost 12 breathing cycles, okay, per minute. Okay, average you take, it is 12 to 16 breathing cycles per minute. So this is your respiratory rate. Okay, this is your respiratory rate. So now what happens whenever you take the air inside, that is you're taking the oxygen from the atmosphere into your lungs. Okay, into your lungs. Your lungs, they open up, they expand like a balloon. Okay, they expand, your lungs expand like a balloon. And when you breathe out the air, okay, when you breathe out the air, the carbon dioxide is expelled out. This is called as expiration, and your lungs become inflated. So this is the basic process of breathing. Now, how does the air enter into the lungs and how does it go out? Some process should be involved in it, isn't it? That is the pressure gradient. Okay, there is some pressure difference in your lungs which makes it possible. Okay, that pressure difference which is created in your lungs make it possible to expel the air outside and get the air inside. Okay, this is explained by the principle Boyle's law. Okay, now the Boyle's law, it explains that it gives the inverse relationship. It gives the inverse relationship between the volume and the pressure. That is nothing but the pressure is inversely proportional to volume. Okay, that is whenever there is increase in pressure, there is decrease in volume. Whenever there is increase in volume, there is decrease in pressure. Let me say, for example, you take your pressure cooker in your kitchen. Okay, what happens when the air is compressed within the pressure cooker? That is, there is high pressure, so there is low volume of air. Now you remove the pressure cooker, the volume of air is throughout your room. That is, the volume is increased. So what is happening? The pressure for that is decreased. So this is explained by the Boyle's law. Now this principle is even explained the breathing process which is taking place in our lungs. Okay, so what happens is, remember one thing, air always moves from high pressure to low pressure. Okay, so that is, see, if it is standard, there is same constant pressure everywhere, there doesn't move, isn't it? No, the air has to move into your lungs. So it always moves from high pressure to low pressure. So for this to happen, now the air should enter the lungs, inside the lungs. So what should happen? Inside your lungs, the pressure should fall. Now the atmospheric pressure is 760 millimeters. Okay, the atmospheric pressure is 760 millimeters of mercury at sea level. Now, if it is 760 within your lungs, air doesn't enter, isn't it? So, but the air has to enter. That is, here the pressure should decrease. Means, according to Boyle, so what happened? The volume should increase. So, what happens during inspiration is your lung volume, okay, lung volume has to be increased. So, the pressure decreases, okay. So, what happens here? As the lung volume is increased, the pressure falls. It almost falls to 758 millimeters of mercury. So, what happens? Air enters into the lung during inspiration. What happens during expiration? Now, the intrapulmonary pressure, that is a pressure within your lungs. Okay, the pressure within your lungs, it builds up. Okay, now as the atmospheric pressure is 760 millimeters, now air is moving from high pressure to low pressure. Here during inspiration, it was 758 here. So it was high pressure outside, so air entered inside. Now during expiration, it is low pressure outside and it is high pressure inside the lungs. So air moves out. Okay, this is the main principle of Boyle's law. So the high pressure to be created, what happened? The volume, lung volume has to decrease during the expiration. Okay, so during expiration, what is happening? Your pressure, the lungs pressure is more when compared to the atmospheric pressure. When compared to the atmospheric pressure during inspiration, your lung pressure is less than the atmospheric pressure. So as air moves from high pressure to low pressure, the air entered into the lungs from here, from the atmosphere during inspiration, and during expiration, air is expelled out. If there is no pressure difference between the atmosphere and lungs, there is no exchange of air. So this has to happen, and there is another pressure involved here. The first one is the atmospheric pressure, that's outside pressure, and the second one is the intrapulmonary pressure, that is the pressure within your lungs, and the third one is the intrapleural pressure. That is, you see here, there are two pleural membranes which cover your lungs, and within this is the pleural cavity. So inside this, there is some pressure created. This pressure is always less than the atmospheric pressure. So like it could be 756 millimeters. That is always negative. That is less than the atmospheric pressure. So based on this, okay, so one thing is clear. Now for the air to enter inside the lungs, what should happen? The volume of the lungs should increase. Now how this happens? This is happening with the help of your muscles, okay? The muscles of the respiration, they are doing that function. You have different muscles which are taking this responsibility. That is, okay. Now your respiratory process, it could be quiet, that is without any effort. It could be involuntary. It could be forced, that is you could put some external efforts. Okay, you put some pressure. Okay, now what happened? Your lungs are present within your rib cage. Okay, your lungs are present within your rib cage. Now air should enter, that is the volume should expand. So what happens? These ribs, they should move up. For this to happen, your diaphragm, which is a dome-shaped muscle which is present beneath the lungs here, it becomes flattened, and the external intercostal muscles which are present between this rib cage, what they do? They contract. As a result, the rib opens. Okay, the rib cage moves upward, and as a result, what happens? The lung volume is increased, so pressure is decreased, so air is entering inside the lungs. Okay, so this is the principle during the inspiration. Remember. Okay, so what are the muscles which are helping is your external intercostal muscles which are present within the rib cages. Okay, these are contracting, and the diaphragm which is present here, it separates the thoracic cavity in which the lungs are present and the abdominal cavity. Okay, from this, the diaphragm, which is dome shaped normally, it becomes flattened during inspiration, and as a result, these two muscles contract. What happens? Your thoracic volume increases. Okay, so if you want to do so, almost during quiet inspiration, you take 500 ml of air. If you want to take it like during exercise, you take more air inside. So for this to happen, let it see you take to 3000 ml. So extra muscle should effort take place, right? So here comes your sternocleidomastoid, your scalene, and the pectoralis minor. These three muscles, okay? This is the sternocleidomastoid and this is the scalene muscle. Okay, these contract. As a result, there is more air inside. Now, what happens during the expiration? Your quiet expiration, the external intercostal muscles and the diaphragm, they relax. As they relax, what's happening? The thoracic volume is decreasing and the air is coming out. Okay. During the forceful expiration, your internal intercostal muscles and the abdominal muscles, both of them contract. Okay, so as a result, normal quiet expiration, you expel 500 ml of air outside, but during forced expiration, it's almost 1100 ml of air. It's expelled out. So this is the basic muscles which are helping in your respiration, that is during the inspiration and the expiration. So sum up, how is this mechanism taking place? Let me sum up it. Okay. So what is happening? Now you see here, this is the mechanism. Now this is during inspiration, your air is entering inside. So this to happen, what happens? Your diaphragm muscle, okay? Your diaphragm muscle, it is becoming flattened and your external intercostal muscles, they contract. Both of them contract. Okay, both of them contract. So during inspiration, so this is during inspiration, you see air is coming inside. So the pathways from your external nares, okay, it is through your nasal chamber, that is your nasal cavity, from the pharynx, through the larynx, through the trachea, and through the bronchi and bronchioles. The air is entering into the alveoli during inspiration. This is the pathway of your air entering inside. And during expiration, it is the reverse. It is from the alveoli, bronchi, bronchioles, trachea, larynx, pharynx, nasal cavity, and nares. The air goes outside. Okay, during expiration, this is the passage. Okay, so what is happening during inspiration? During inspiration, what is happening? Your external intercostal muscles and the diaphragm contract. As a result, what is happening? Your thoracic volume is increasing. When the diaphragm contracts, it increases anterior-posteriorly, and the external intercostal muscles, it contracts, it increases dorso-ventrally. The thoracic volume is increasing. As a result, Boyle's law, volume increase, pressure decrease. Okay. So what is happening here? The pressure decrease. So what happens? Air always moves from high pressure to low pressure. So what is happening during inspiration? Now the lung pressure, it is lower than the atmospheric pressure. That is, it is 760. This is 758. So what is happening? Your air is entering into the lungs. Air is entering into the lungs because it is 760 here. It is 758. So air entered into the lungs. This is your inspiration. And what is happening during the expiration? The atmospheric pressure is 760 and your lungs, the pressure, because the diaphragm and the external intercostal muscles relax, what happens? The thoracic volume is decreasing. That is, your ribcage. See, here during inspiration, your ribcage expands, and during the expiration, your ribcage becomes smaller. Okay, so thoracic volume is decreasing. Your pressure inside the lungs is increasing. Okay, so that is almost 762. Say it is roughly 762. So what is happening? Air moves from high pressure to low pressure. So air moves out the lungs into the atmosphere. Okay, so this is the process of the inspiration and the expiration. So let's see 2 MCQs from this. Okay, you can understand the topic good, very good way. Now, the MCQ here is during inspiration, what happens to the diaphragm? The diaphragm becomes flattened. It contracts and becomes flattened. Now, see in this picture. Okay, see in this picture. Here it is flat. Here it is, sorry, this is not flat. This is dome-shaped. Okay, here it is dome-shaped. This is dome-shaped. That is during the expiration. And this is flat. That is during the inspiration. Now, the first option is relaxes to dome shape. No, it is during expiration. The second one is correct. The third option expands. No, the third last option is no change. No, there is change. Your diaphragm during inspiration contracts. Okay, so option 2 is correct. Now, let's move on to the next question. Okay, the next question from this topic is during forced expiration, actively contracting muscles include. During forced expiration, what are the actively contracting muscles? They include the abdominal muscles and the internal intercostals. As I already said, during quiet expiration, what happens? The diaphragm and the external intercostals relax. But the question mentioned here is contracting. So option 1 and option 2 are wrong. Now the abdominal muscles, yes, they contract during forceful expiration. And the last sternocleidomastoid, no, it is the muscle which contracts during forceful inspiration. The question is about expiration. So option 3 is correct. Okay, option 3 is the correct answer for this question. So this is the, because we'll discuss the next topic in the next session. And for today, thank you.